Hello everyone. So I'm going to explain the assessment too. So I'm going to read through the question and try to explain what exactly I am looking for. So the question states create and present a PowerPoint on an accommodation provider of your choice based in Christchurch. And your research for the presentation will include the following. So first of all, choose one accommodation provider. We have already studied different kind of accommodation provider, so you choose it. It could be a backpacker, a hotel, motel, etc. Your choice, but it has to be based in Christchurch. All right, so that's the first part of the assignment. The second, so first bullet point that we have here is background of the brand and the accommodation provider. So background means history. So now again, I am just taking a hypothetical example, and I'm just randomly choosing a hotel. I'm not saying this is what you should choose, but randomly I'm choosing Chateau on the Park, Doubletree by Hilton, Christchurch. So that hotel has history. It was Chateau on the Park, and then it was taken over by Hilton. So if you have chosen that hotel, you explain a bit about the old Chateau on the Park. Then you explain about the franchisee. You explain about Hilton. About Doubletree, you explain about some points about what Hilton is, how many hotels they have worldwide, how many hotels do they have in Christchurch, and then you explain about that particular hotel. So when you mention about background, you explain about number of rooms, the ownership type, the location, etc. And of course not limited to what I said, but as much research as you can do. If you are choosing an owner and operated small accommodation provider, you will find a lot of information about its background in their website. So go into their website and find out what they're about and explain that. That could be background. And of course, even if you are doing motels, or backpackers, you still have to mention the number of rooms or the number of beds, and different room types, and a bit about their background as well. The next bullet point is what is its management style. We have already studied about management style, and what are the two disadvantage and two advantage of management style. We have done a PowerPoint presentation on something similar in week 10, or week 9, so you will get your PowerPoint presentation there. So what you have to do is, this is where your research comes in, so you will have to find out what their management style is, and then you have to find out the notes where we have discussed about advantages and disadvantages. So you don't only state it, you also explain, and that's where PowerPoint presentation is about. Okay. Point number 3 is mention 3 competitors of the accommodation provider. What makes them the competitor? So if you have chosen a hotel, find out 3 competitors. Now competitors, and again we have studied these, if I remember correctly, should be in week 3. Competitors will have to be similar room types, and also have to be close enough in number of rooms. A competitor should have similar room price or room types, and should provide similar facilities. For example, if your hotel provides breakfast, you have to make sure that your competitors are providing breakfast, lunch, or dinner. or car park. So you have to know why a hotel is a competitor of the hotel that you are making the assignment on. So during your presentation, after your presentation, I can ask you what makes you feel that these hotels or these motels are competitors. Okay, and you should be able to explain it. That's where your research comes in. So you'll be researching on number of rooms, room types, price of the room, if it's brand, if it's a chain hotel, etc. Okay. The next point is mention 3 target market of the accommodation provider and what are their requirements. We have studied target market in details, so you know what different target markets are and what their requirements are. So when you are researching on a hotel, you obviously will know what their services are, what services they provide, what products do they provide. So if you see a city center hotel and you find out there, for example, okay, let me give you an example again very randomly. We went to Ramada Suites by Wyndham, across the street, and the general manager mentioned that they only have people staying in the hotel during Monday to Friday on the weekdays. On weekends, they don't have a lot of people. So, who are the target market here? Obviously, the corporate travelers, people who travel for business and work and travel during the week, and during the weekend they check out and go back home. So their target market is corporate. This is how you're going to find out who the target market is. Once you're done that, the next point is mention 3 service provided by the accommodation provider. Obviously your research will help you in that. And recommend 2 new services that could attract new target markets. So once you know what all services are provided, then you can mention what are the other services you can possibly offer. That will be a recommendation. And you will then have to mention which target market will that new service will focus on or will attract. Okay, I'll give you an example here. For example, if you recommend valet car park as an added service, then you have to mention who the target market would be. A quick guess would be people who are traveling for luxury. Okay, and they could be a target market for this one. Or sometimes corporate guests as well who travel for business. Another example is if you mention a new service as airport transport, then you will have to mention who could be the target market. And I can guess the target market could be families who just want to get out of the plane and make sure that their vehicle is ready to pick them up and take them to the hotel. Even the corporate clients like airport pickup, so they don't have to wait to arrange their own transportation. But remember this, if you mention a new service, for example airport pickup, then my question at the end of your PowerPoint presentation will be, you have mentioned airport pickup, but does the hotel have a van? Or how much are you going to charge? Who's going to pay for a new van? Who's going to drive it? Will you hire new staff? What will be their job descriptions? This could be some of the example of questions that I may ask. So think before you recommend a new service. Think about, do you have to will the hotel needs to invest a lot of money to introduce that particular service? how many people will they attract. Okay, so and at the end you will get questions from myself. You may get questions from your audience as well. So all the very best for your assessment 2 and your PowerPoint presentation. As I already mentioned, you're more than welcome to insert a very small video if you like that can help you explain your PowerPoint presentation better. And you can also ask questions from the audience if you want. But again, the time frame is given and you'll have to work within that time, within that timeline. Again, all the very best. And if you have any more questions, please feel free to get in touch.